If you're waking up every single night between 2 and 4 a.m., staring at the ceiling with your mind already racing, your body is not malfunctioning. It's sending you a precise biological distress signal. This is not about your bladder, your mattress, your stress levels, or your inability to wind down. This is a metabolic event. And until you understand what's actually happening inside your body during those hours, you will keep waking up, and your belly fat will keep refusing to budge. What makes this even more frustrating is that this specific sleep disruption is directly linked to visceral fat accumulation, even in people who are disciplined with their diet during the day. You can be eating clean, exercising consistently, and doing everything right, and still wake up at 3 a.m. bloated, wired, and no leaner than you were 6 months ago. The reason is not willpower, and it is not your workout routine. The reason is happening while you sleep. We have been told for decades that sleep problems are a brain issue. Take melatonin, try meditation, buy a weighted blanket, download a white noise app. But none of those solutions address what is actually triggering the wake-up, because none of them look at the right organ. When someone wakes up at the exact same time every night, specifically in that 2 to 4 a.m. window, the first place to look is not the brain. The first place to look is the liver. To understand why, you need to understand one fundamental truth about your brain. It is the most energy-expensive organ in your entire body, and it never stops demanding fuel, not even when you are unconscious. Your brain runs almost exclusively on glucose, and it needs a continuous, uninterrupted supply of it 24 hours a day, through every stage of sleep, through every dream, through every hour of darkness. When you stop eating at night and go to bed, your brain doesn't stop. It just switches its fuel source. For those 7 to 9 hours of sleep, your brain relies entirely on one organ to keep it alive: your liver. Your liver stores glucose in a form called glycogen, and it slowly releases that glycogen into your bloodstream throughout the night, a steady, controlled drip of fuel designed to keep your brain calm, your heart beating, and your lungs breathing while your body repairs itself. Think of the liver as a rechargeable battery. During the day, food charges it up, and at night, your sleeping body slowly drains it. Now here is where everything starts to unravel for millions of people, and where the 3 a.m. mystery begins to make complete sense. If you live with chronic stress, if your days are filled with rushing, worrying, overworking, overcaffeinating, or constantly operating in a state of low-grade urgency, your liver glycogen is being depleted throughout the day at an accelerated rate. Cortisol, your primary stress hormone, is essentially a drain on that liver battery. Every stressful moment, every spike of anxiety, every large coffee on an empty stomach pulls from that reserve. So by the time you actually lie down and close your eyes, your liver isn't fully charged. It might be sitting at 30 or 40% capacity, not nearly enough to fuel a full night of sleep. Around 3 a.m., roughly 4 to 5 hours into your fast, that depleted battery hits zero. Your liver runs out of glycogen, your blood glucose drops, and from your brain's perspective, an organ that cannot distinguish between "I forgot to eat" and "I am dying," this is a life-threatening emergency. The brain does the only thing it knows how to do in a perceived emergency. It hits the panic button. It sends an urgent signal to your adrenal glands, and within seconds, 2 hormones are released: adrenaline and cortisol. Adrenaline acts instantly. It is the biological equivalent of smelling salts, and it is precisely why you don't wake up at 3 a.m. feeling groggy and disoriented. You wake up wide awake, heart pounding, mind immediately flooded with thoughts about deadlines, conversations, money, and problems you can't solve at 3 in the morning. You have been chemically injected with a stress response, not because something is wrong psychologically, but because your liver ran out of fuel and your brain declared a metabolic emergency. The adrenaline is the alarm, but cortisol is the real damage. Cortisol's emergency job is to manufacture new glucose by breaking down your own body tissue, specifically muscle protein, through a process called gluconeogenesis. So while you are lying in bed in the dark, convinced you are simply a bad sleeper, your body is actually in a catabolic muscle-wasting state, cannibalizing your lean tissue to produce emergency sugar. You are not sleeping, you are surviving. And this is why the belly fat never leaves, no matter how hard you try during the day. The majority of your body's fat burning happens during deep, slow wave sleep, specifically during the hours when your pituitary gland pulses out human growth hormone, or HGH. HGH is the most powerful fat-oxidizing, muscle-preserving, anti-aging hormone your body produces, and it does the bulk of its work while you are in deep, restorative sleep. But HGH has one enemy that completely shuts it down: cortisol. Cortisol and HGH operate like opposite ends of a seesaw. When one rises, the other is chemically suppressed. So when your liver crashes at 3 a.m. and cortisol floods your system to compensate, your HGH pulse is blunted, sometimes eliminated entirely for that night. Instead of spending your sleep burning fat and rebuilding muscle, you spend it wasting muscle and storing fat. You wake up inflamed, craving carbohydrates, carrying a higher fasting blood sugar than you went to bed with, and wondering why your stomach looks worse in the morning than it did the night before. This is the cycle that keeps people stuck for years: disciplined during the day, metabolically destructive at night. Sleeping pills do not fix this. They sedate the brain without addressing the underlying metabolic instability, which is the equivalent of taping over the warning light on your dashboard instead of checking the engine. The solution is not sedation. The solution is fuel stability. And the way to create that fuel stability with a targeted pre-sleep nutritional strategy I call the sleep anchor. The sleep anchor is designed to do one thing: give your liver enough slow-releasing, sustained fuel to survive the full 8 hours of your fast without triggering an emergency cortisol response. Before I explain it, an important note: this protocol is specifically for people who are already waking up in that 2 to 4 a.m. window, not for people who sleep soundly through the night, as adding unnecessary pre-sleep fuel can disrupt metabolic rhythms that are already functioning well. This is not medical advice. If you have diabetes, are on any medication, or have existing health conditions, speak to your doctor before implementing this. The sleep anchor has 3 components, each serving a specific physiological purpose. The first component is 1 teaspoon of raw honey, not processed honey, not a sugar substitute, but raw, unfiltered honey with its natural fructose to glucose ratio intact. Fructose is preferentially metabolized by the liver, not the muscles, which means it goes directly towards replenishing liver glycogen, exactly the fuel reserve that was running empty at 3 a.m. 1 teaspoon is all you need. This is not about spiking blood sugar. It is about quietly recharging the battery before the lights go out. The second component is 1 teaspoon of a quality fat source. MCT oil, almondinger, grass-fed butter, or a small piece of aged cheese all work well. Fat dramatically slows gastric emptying and creates a buffer around that glucose release, transforming what would be a sharp 30-minute spike into a smooth 4-hour sustained energy drip that keeps the brain fueled well past 3 a.m. The third component is glycine, an amino acid found naturally in collagen and bone broth and available as an inexpensive powder. Glycine lowers your core body temperature, which is one of the critical physiological triggers required to enter deep, slow-wave sleep. It also functions as an inhibitory neurotransmitter, actively quieting the nervous system and directly counteracting the cortisol and adrenaline response that has been hijacking your nights. 30 minutes before bed, combine 1 teaspoon of raw honey, 1 teaspoon of MCT oil or almond butter, and 1 scoop of collagen peptides or pure glycine powder. Mix into a small warm drink or simply eat it off a spoon. When you do this consistently, you change the entire hormonal environment of your sleep. The liver stays fueled, the brain stays calm, the adrenaline stays dormant, cortisol stays low, and growth hormone can finally surge the way it was designed to. There is also a sodium component worth addressing. If you are on a low-carb diet or carry chronically high stress, your kidneys excrete sodium rapidly, and low sodium can trigger a secondary stress hormone called aldosterone that also wakes you in the night with a racing heart. Adding a small pinch of high-quality sea salt to your sleep anchor can neutralize the secondary trigger entirely. In the morning, regardless of how the night went, get bright natural light into your eyes within 30 minutes of waking. This resets the suprachiasmatic nucleus in the brain, anchors your circadian cortisol rhythm, and begins moving that cortisol peak back to the morning where it biologically belongs. Also delay your first coffee by 90 minutes after waking, allowing your body to naturally clear its own sleep inertia compounds first, which prevents the adrenal confusion that leads to the afternoon crash and the disrupted liver energy that feeds the cycle again the following night. The 3 a.m. wake up is not a curse, and it is not who you are. It is a data point, your liver broadcasting a distress signal in the only language your sleeping brain can hear. Address the root cause, anchor the fuel, protect the growth hormone window, and your sleep becomes what it was always meant to be, the most powerful fat-burning, muscle-building, life-extending tool you have. Stop managing the symptom, engineer the solution.